Live from the podcast studio, this is From Long Distance to Marriage with Rich and Andrea. We're a once long-distance couple who closed 5,000 miles of distance and are now happily married.
We talk long distance, marriage and relationships.
Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 38 of From Long Distance to Marriage. We have a really special episode this week for you guys that we're both really excited about. We have another set of guests that are on, and they're currently a couple who's trying to close the distance.
But they're married.
But they're married. Spoiler. Lawrence and Nyla are, what is it when you go over oceans? Transatlantic.
Like us, they're America and the UK. And yes, they're already married. It's a really interesting story. We were really moved by it. So we'll let you listen to it for yourselves. But keep listening once it's finished because we've got a little bit more to add.
Yeah, we got some updates.
Enjoy.
We have Lawrence and Nyla, who are in a very, not probably that unique long-distance relationship from what we've seen. But hello, guys. How are you?
Good. Hey, how you doing?
Good. We're so glad you guys could join us. Thanks for working around. Well, we went with two different time zones. Thankfully, Nyla's in the same.
Yeah, this could have been really messy.
It could have been really difficult.
So, just so we can give some context to people listening, Nyla and Lawrence are still dealing with the distance. So they're in two separate places, and then we're in the third place. So, hence the potential complications.
Yeah. So Nyla's not too far from us. You're in Wales. Whereabouts in Wales are you?
I'm in Newport.
Oh, nice. Okay. And are you from there originally?
Yeah, I am. I'm born and raised Newport girl.
Okay, because I can understand you. Sometimes I can't understand the Welsh.
Oh, no, I'm South Wales. You can understand people from South Wales. North Wales is where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
You've only been once though, right?
I've been a couple times. Rich's mom's side of the family is Welsh.
Yeah,
so
I'm half.
We're in Wales.
They're Barry, sort of Cardiff.
Oh, okay, not too far then. Like
I said,
cool.
south, so it's all good.
Yeah. And then Lawrence is from Florida. I'm from California originally, so couldn't get any further from from where we're all from. Yeah, and we're in Kent in the UK. So
we're just near London for anyone who doesn't know where that
is an international call, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So guys, tell us a little bit about your background story and introduce yourselves and just give us a little bit of insight.
And be as detailed as you can, because we're really excited because you're currently going through the process of trying to get together. We think you're going to be really valuable to people who listen to us.
Okay, that's what's up. Sweetheart, would you like to start?
By saying how we met, or?
Yeah, and a little bit about yourselves.
Okay, so basically, my dad lived in Florida for a while when I was growing up. So when I was about 15, my dad moved it to Florida because he was seeing a woman over there himself.
Family.
Intergenerational long distance. Yeah.
I started going over when I was 18 to visit him, and I made a lot of friends over there. My dad eventually came back to Wales in 2011, but because I'd made so many good friends, I carried on going over. So anytime I had spare money, I would just take a flight and go stay with friends. I mean, it seemed like the perfect vacation. So yeah, I guess I made really good friends with someone called Jessica, who was friends with Lawrence.
Did we lose Lawrence?
I was just wondering what happened. Did he go?
His picture went away. Nope.
Oh, you still there?
Yeah, what happened?
Okay, so yeah. So I was just saying I met you through Jessica. Maybe you could explain who Jessica is to you, because she was just one of my friends I met.
Well, Jessica is actually my brother's wife. My brother Sam, that's his wife. And me and my brother knew Jessica from high school years. And they called me one day when they were hanging out. She happened to be visiting. And at the time, I was actually going through a divorce. So I was like, I ain't talking to no females right now. My brother asked me to come out and play pool. And then I go out with him. I'm like, whatever. We go out and we pull up. He's like, oh, she's from the United Kingdom. So now, before I say this, let me tell you, I've never left Florida. So it's going to sound real bad. So when he says, oh, she's from the United Kingdom. So I'm like, a fucking foreigner? so so we get out, and I walk up to her. I said, "Hey, do you speak American?" She's like, "You mean English?" So we laughed. We laughed because it was kind of crazy. We laughed, and then we hung out that night, and then we hung out the next day because Jessica's mom was having what do you call it, Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'll slide out, because I rode with my brother or whatever, and I told her, I said, well, if we're going to be friends, you got to meet my two daughters because, I want custody of my kids. So I have my two daughters. And I never had a swinging door of women, after I left my wife. I just didn't want a bunch of women around my two daughters. So I said, okay, boom. She came back to my house. Well, I told her, I said, come meet me at my parents' house. I said, come meet me at my parents' house. So, neutral area. You don't know me, really. I don't know you. She could be crazy. But she actually had her daughters down with her. So we switched. I said, here, you take mine, I'll take yours. And then we'll meet at this place called Cheeseburgers and More, which is like a little hamburger place for kids. And then it was like, this is pretty awesome. And shit, we were friends for like we talked a couple times, maybe like 6-7 months. And then I put that Mitchell talk to her, you know how it is. You know how it is when them dudes from the South. I'm from South Florida, so we got that talk, and plus I'm
Oh,
he keeps going in and out.
yeah, that's okay. Hopefully he'll be back in the
There he is, back.
There we
I'm
back.
sexy, and that's hard to resist.
You just went
A little
out.
bit.
He has no idea he even went out. This is amazing.
But I mean,
We lost you after South Florida.
And then we got you back on sexy. That's all we
My
need.
bad.
Sit down instead of walking around because you're going in and out. So maybe stay in this one's place.
He kept walking around.
I can see you.
Oh,
Yeah, your video's still on.
I'm a retard. So back to the question. Yeah, I met her through my brother's wife, and we hung out a couple times together, and then we started hanging out with just each other, and it became pretty awesome. And then after just being together for a little minute, we both knew actually what we were getting into, like as far as the distance. Because I told her, I said, I've never been in a long distance. I said, I've never been one of those guys that like dated a girl over the phone, but I could give it a shot. And it turned out to be pretty awesome because after I met her, she was in college and I dropped out of college. And I'm like, shit, I can't have a female smarter than me. So I went back. I went back and got my shit together because, I don't know, I didn't want to be the dumb guy with the sexy girl, smart as hell, and everybody look at her and be like, why is she with him?
Well, that's a good relationship. You push each other to be better. So how old were you guys when you met?
I was 24 and Lawrence was 35.
Okay, so a little bit of an age gap.
Yeah.
Cool. And so what year was...
Pardon?
Did you say 35 or 55?
Shut up.
He's been lying to you.
Yeah. No, I actually asked if I could see his ID.
So how long ago was this? What year did you meet?
2014.
Okay.
Right, so you've been doing this a while.
Yeah. So you meet, you hit it off. Obviously, your kids all really get along. So you've got 4 daughters between you. How old are they?
Lawrence's oldest will be 16 in March.
Okay.
My oldest will be turning 13 in January.
So they've known you guys respectively since they were quite young.
Yeah.
And how have they taken to it with the distance and having sisters?
They love it.
It's been a roller coaster for all of them. I mean, my oldest had to get used to having an older sibling, which she found difficult because she likes being the boss.
Yeah.
But my youngest, who's 9, I guess she appreciated having another 2 sisters.
Yeah, always better to have more people to play with.
She's definitely the baby, and she gets spoiled.
And how old is your youngest, Lawrence?
She turns 12 in October.
Okay, so they're a little bit older.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think what really amazed me reading through you guys' story is that obviously it's difficult to close the distance, but you guys are actually already married, even though you're still apart. So tell us a bit more about the timeline. So you meet in 2014. You talk for off and on, well, quite a lot, I guess, for 6 or 7 months. And then
Lawrence gave the South Florida sexy chat.
Yes, he was sexy, and he gave you the Mitchell talk, and there was no resisting it. So when do you see each other next? What's the timeline sort of your guys' relationship up until now?
So,
Go ahead, honey.
Oh, okay. So we met 2014. Then the beginning of 2015, he met my kids, and then we kind of started dating. Just right after he met the kids, and I met his kids, and then we didn't actually see each other until October, November 2015. So we went quite a while just talking on the phone.
So almost a year, really. Then. Yeah.
So our early days
some
of
conversations
was just
24 hours long.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like on the phone,
Some
or is
of
that
our
like texting conversations?
Oh, we would definitely be on the phone. We never
Absolutely.
text at the beginning of our relationship. It would always be a phone call to
cool.
the point where I would be on the phone and leave the phone while I went to sleep and wake up in the morning and he'd still be on the phone.
Oh, you guys are the cutest. You're killing me
You're
right
like the
now.
poster couple for long distance.
Yeah.
You should have a podcast.
So what was the kind of psychology behind that? Was it just nice to know that he was there even though you were asleep?
We
Is that
on
kind of...
on Skype like that.
Yeah, it was nice because I would wake up and then he would be asleep because he would watch me go to sleep. And then obviously with the time he would end up falling asleep and I would wake up and see him sleeping. And it was
you
just
never had a chance. You never had a chance. There was no way not to fall for this. That's the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
You feel me? Now you see what I'm trying to tell you?
That's really sweet. Okay, so about...
Yeah, we literally never watched each other sleep.
No. We do now.
We do now. Yeah.
We're in the same bed, but okay, so about a year until you see each other again. And what happens then?
During that year, like, it was really difficult because obviously we were getting to know each other on the phone. We had a few ups and downs where we had to gain that trust with each other. He wasn't sure how, I guess, he could trust me over the other side of the world. I wasn't sure if I could trust him. His ex-wife was causing him problems, and I was trying to be supportive, but then I felt like I was treading on his toes, and I didn't know whether to back off. So we had some difficult bumps in the road. And then I was due to come over with my kids, and I decided to show him how committed I was. It was a leap year that year, so I was like, hey, I'm going to propose.
Oh. How cool. So how did that go down?
Well, first of all, I called my stepdaughters, and I asked them how they would feel about me and their dad getting married. And they were really excited. They were like, yes. I said, I want you guys to be happy. So as long as you guys are okay with it, I want to ask Daddy to marry me. So obviously I had to make sure they were all involved because I just wanted them to feel a part of the whole situation. So they had a big job, which was keeping this a secret, which is hard for kids to do.
Yeah.
But they did really well. And when we got over there, me and the girls, I arranged for all his friends and family to come bowling just to get together because he got a big group of friends and family, and like they're really welcoming. They love me and the girls. And so when I told them, oh, I'm in town, let's all go bowling, they were all up for it. I didn't tell them why. I just said, let's all get together, we'll go bowling. And that night I went to speak to his parents, who are quite traditional. So they didn't agree that I was going to ask him. His dad was the one who finally gave me the blessing and said, okay, because his mum was very much like, no.
Oh, no.
But they
Would you have asked anyway if they'd both said no?
I think I would have, because I'm quite hard-headed. So
Yeah, you were.
They would have come around.
Yeah, I mean, I done it because, it's the decent thing to do. I guess a guy would ask my parents, so I thought, I'd better tell them. And then we got to the bowling alley, and I gave each girl, so 4 of the girls, I gave them a card, and on the cards it said, will you marry mommy?
Oh.
So each of them held a word, and we were all bowling. And then I had the lady at the reception area play a song that kind of Lawrence knew because I would sing it to him. And she said, this song is dedicated to Nyla's boyfriend, Lawrence. He didn't even click on. He didn't even hear the song. He was talking to his friends.
He's in bowling
Wasn't even interested. And so I made all the girls stand in front of the bowling lane, and then everyone started getting out their phones and going crazy, and he's still like, what's going on? So everyone had to go like, Lawrence, go look. And that's how it happened.
Were you shocked, Lawrence?
Yeah. I was shocked because I was like, damn. She want to marry me? Does she know what she getting herself into?
And so you got married pretty quickly after. It was like less than a year. Is that right?
Yeah, we got married the same year. So I proposed in the April. We got married in the October.
So how did you find that with, is that complicated in that, you weren't a citizen of America and Lawrence, you weren't of the UK? Like, does that make it difficult?
Like, is it easy to get married when you're in those situations, or?
It was really easy.
It's supposed to be, but it's still not. But it's we got married at the courthouse, and then we had a ceremony over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we basically went to the courthouse. We took our papers. Like, I had my ID, he had his. We asked for a marriage license, and we got it. And then 2 days later, we got married at the courthouse. So I think it was pretty straightforward.
I have a question for Lawrence. So you'd never been out of Florida, and then you went to Wales. What did you think of it?
I told her, I said, I want to move here. After my first trip over there. But it started out rough. I ain't gonna lie. My first time flying over there to meet their family, right? I go through customs, and I randomly was selected to sit in their little custom jail for like 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Were your girls with you, or were you going on your own?
It was me. My first trip, I was just going to meet their parents. And
so wait, were you in customs?
They didn't.
Just
they didn't
in
know.
America, or when you landed?
When he landed in London.
So they kept you for 3 hours in London?
Yes.
Yeah, after a 10-hour flight, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They were questioning him so bad, and then they called him me, and they kept asking me questions, and I was like, can you just let me know if you're going to let him through? And they said, we'll call you back. And I was like, stood on the other side, like stressing, because I just didn't understand why they wouldn't let him through.
So what kind of stuff, if you guys don't mind saying, what kind of stuff were they asking you?
There was that I had to answer questions about my granddad, her dad, like when did we get married? I had it was asking like the craziest questions, like, oh, so how'd you meet her? And like I had to tell them a quick, like a 5-minute summarized version of why I'm here to meet her. And then they're like, why are you only out of the country for 6-7 days? And I'm trying to explain to them, well, I'm on dialysis, so I can't afford it over here. Florida Medicare don't cross the water. It's only in Florida, so, and they just were saying, well, why'd you fly straight from Miami? I said, it's my first time flying, and I'm afraid of heights. So if I got to get a connecting flight, I might shake myself out the second time. So if I'm already on the plane, I got no choice to sit there. They was like, oh, trying to call her, trying to call her daddy. First thing people start thinking is, what did he try to bring over?
So the first time you went to Wales, you guys were already married?
No, we were engaged. It was just
Okay.
after we got engaged. The first time he came over, so we got engaged in the April, and then he came over in the July, and I did a big engagement party with all my family and friends so they could meet him.
Okay.
So I think this kind of
It wasn't big, it was huge.
I have a big family.
But so I think this leads into another question quite nicely then of like how were your families about the long distance and about you getting married, separated? Obviously, you both had kids. Like, were your families both supportive of it, or were there complications? Because we hear we get quite a few questions from people who they're kind of fielding quite a lot of negativity from their friends and family about it.
No, we didn't get no negativity about it. I when I approached my mom and dad and said, how do you feel about me taking the girls over there and living over there? I said, if you say don't go, you'd be the only reason I would stay in Florida. Like if you guys, if y'all wasn't living in Florida, I'd be gone. If there was a way to come over there illegally with my daughters and still be able to go to school and get medical attention when I needed and stuff, I would have been left. But if y'all say stay, I'm going to stay. They said, go be with your family. That's where you want to be. So I told the girls, what do y'all think about this? And when we got married and then we had our reception over there, we had the girls, all the girls involved and everything. They were loving it. They ready to move over there. They said bye to a couple of friends already. And bro, they come to grips with, we'll come back to Florida in a couple of years. It's not going anywhere.
Well, yeah, his family have always been really supportive. Like he told me they were happy that he was happy. I guess when I first told my parents, they wasn't so supportive because previously I had been in a long distance relationship before.
Okay.
It didn't work out well. It was actually really bad. And I wasn't in the best place in my life. I guess I was going through a lot personally. And so when I came home after having another trip in Florida, because I took quite a lot of trips, they were like, oh, here we go again. Nyla's head's in the clouds. She's running away with the fairies. And I was like, no, I really like this guy. And so they weren't so supportive until they actually met him. And then they fell in love with him, just like me.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Happy ending then.
Yeah.
So is the plan to then go to Florida or to go for Lawrence and your family to go to Wales? Where are you guys hoping to settle?
The thing was, the plan was for her to come over to America, but my two stepdaughters were still trying to come to grips with it. It wasn't like a big problem, but I didn't want them to just feel uprooted. So I said, we'll come over there to make the transition of coming to America easy. We'll come over there for a few years. Y'all get to know how I am, how the girls are. We get better of a bond, and then we'll move to another country. Because I get it. It's nerve-wracking. But, my girls, they were on it because, like I told them, you got no choice to go where I go. Not saying my wife didn't say that, but I just didn't want my stepdaughters to be coming into a relationship and like, we're here because he made us.
Right.
So
that's really.
We're trying to make it easier. But
it sounds like your girls are more eager to go to Wales then. They're pretty excited about it.
It's different. When I brought them over there and because we got a big family over here, and it's beautiful over here. But when you get a different type of beauty, it's like, holy shit. Yeah. I want more of it. Let me get a good 10 years of it. Let me soak it up and then I'll get out of here.
So is the plan still to go to Florida or is it Wales?
Yeah.
Well,
eventually.
Because,
It's changed so many times because it's just been a difficult, we start looking at the paperwork and we start processing, okay, Lawrence and the kids are coming here. And then we just met so many different barriers and we were like, okay, that's not going to work. I mean, one of the biggest barriers for us, or should I say for Lawrence, is dialysis and his transplant. That's been the biggest barrier. And we got told that he might get denied on the fact of he has medical conditions and the UK don't want him to come here and live off their NHS.
Right.
Okay.
So we made and not only that, the other barrier was for him and the girls to come here, I have to be their sole sponsor. And I don't meet the financial requirements to sponsor the three of them for them to come here.
Okay.
Because, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, you only got to be on so much. And I'm like, yeah, for one person.
Yeah, so do you mind sharing what that is? Because when we did our visa episode, that's one of the things we think's changed since we had to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think when we had to do it, it was all very, like, when I had to apply, I had to prove that I had a, quote, sufficient amount of funds saved. There was no number for that. It was
yeah, that's definitely changed. Basically, okay. I have to be earning $18,600 a year to sponsor Lawrence by himself.
Okay.
That then goes up to $22,400 to sponsor him and one dependent. Okay. For him and two dependents, I have to be making $24,600.
Okay. So it's quite clear because, yeah, it was really kind of, I mean, we didn't have to look at the sponsor route, but kind of in terms of how much Rich needed to be making for them to consider me and how much I needed to have saved. It was all very like wishy-washy. It was like, well, we'll look at it and we'll decide if it's enough.
Am I right in thinking though that it was a little bit different for us because I lived at home?
Yeah,
you. So then we had like they're almost like guarantors.
Yeah, that's actually what it was. Kind of like when you get a loan and someone says we'll vouch for you, and that's what his mom and stepdad did.
I was almost exempt because it wasn't my house we were living in. You know, it wasn't my mortgage.
Yeah.
So
we had to write a letter or something.
Yeah, we had it a little bit easier in that sense.
But sorry, go back to kind of where you were with that.
Yeah, so for me and the girls to go relocate to Florida, we can have up to 3 sponsors. So Lawrence would be one, and then he spoke to a friend of his who basically covers the amount that is needed to sponsor us.
Oh, great.
So when you say you can have up to 3, does that mean like it splits the
like the financial responsibility?
Yeah. So they would be responsible for us, you know, if we really needed money and we ended up trying to go on government state or whatever, any benefits or whatever, we wouldn't be entitled to them. Obviously, they would have to cover us if we got in trouble. I'm not going to say that would happen, but if we got in trouble with the law, anything like that, they kind of take that responsibility. So they would share it.
Would you ever become eligible for benefits? Like, is it a certain amount of time that you have to be there?
Probably after you become a citizen.
I don't know. I don't.
Hello?
Yeah.
Like, she would be a citizen and get a Social Security number.
Okay.
She would be on my Medicare.
Right.
Okay.
So she would automatically be her and the girls. And see, the thing with the girls, I need to adopt them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, then they will get benefits to the 25.
Great. Okay. So will you be able to work when you go over there, Nyla? Like with the sponsorship?
There's like 3 different sets of paperwork. It's really difficult. So there's the I-130, which is basically an eligibility form. And I have to do one for me, one for the girls. So each form costs $300 something. I'm not sure exactly how much, but it's like $300 something each. And that's just for an eligibility form. Once that's approved, then you go on for the visa form, which is another $525 each. And then you do your interview and everything else. Once I have my visa stamped in my passport, that's when I can apply for my work visa.
So you're looking at about $2,500 before you've even had the interview, is that right?
Yes.
Or before you get there?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that dollars or is that
pounds? No, dollars. That is dollars. Yes,
oh, yeah.
Sorry, it is
That's a little bit better, at least.
I mean, the pound and the dollar is not much different these days, though.
Yeah, it's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah, back in the day, the heyday was like double.
I remember in 2005, 2006, when I was like saving to come over and visit, I was like, okay, I want to have like 500 pounds of spending money. And I looked at the conversion and I had to save $1,000. It was so much different, but
yeah,
I guess at least it's not the other way around to be a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So is that what you're currently waiting on? You're going to get into financial position and then apply, or is that taken care of?
Yeah, I mean, we're both on like, I guess, low income salaries right now. He works part-time because of dialysis. I work part-time because I'm a single mom. Mm-hmm. So right now we're just getting by. And
So what do you two both do?
I'm my job title is a creative arts development officer.
Okay.
So I work in a nonprofit organization where I engage young people around the communities in youth clubs and schools to get involved in the arts, such as music, dance, and drama. And then I create projects for them to be involved in.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I'm a part-time mechanic.
Oh, nice.
Great. So,
but he used to be a cook, and he's an amazing chef. He cooks fast food.
I am pretty awesome, but
Well, next time you're in Wales, we'll come over for some food.
yeah. Food.
no, definitely. I'm gonna hold you to that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I love a good excuse to go to Wales. It is really beautiful.
And an excuse for good food.
Yeah. That's the main thing. Okay, so that's where we are right now. You're just kind of finishing trying to get the funds together and get ready to start applying early next year, right?
Yes.
And then also you see each other a couple of times a year, is it?
Yeah, we try. I mean,
and that makes it harder, right? Because that's money that you're having to spend flights on.
And a lot of people say you need to sacrifice that. Just don't see each other for like a year or two. And then, you can save. No,
I love how it's that easy. Just don't
that.
see each other for 2 years.
And these people have probably never been in a long distance relationship. They're telling you that.
And the thing is, what bugs me is that the people who are saying, "Oh, just wait 2 years," you're with people that don't even appreciate you for the moments you have.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? For the moments you have, you guys are arguing when the type of shit other people argue over in a long distance relationship, we don't. Like, I've never. Ever. We've never cheated on each other. And I pride myself on being a one-woman man because I want to show my daughters what type of man I want them to marry.
Yeah.
I want to be just with one woman.
Yeah.
So with this traveling, so when you see each other twice a year, are the kids always with you? Is it 3?
No, unfortunately, because there's 3 of us, either way, there's 3 of us, it's a lot of money. So we try and do trips with the kids when there's a big, like something big. Like he took the kids to Wales for the marriage blessing with my family. I'm taking the kids over for Christmas. So like we try and do something maybe once or twice the kids can come, but we need that time alone together too.
For sure.
So he came over for my birthday in April and I went over in May. So we're pretty excited that we get to see each other another 2 times this year because I'm going over in October and then again in December.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that makes such a difference. I think people who haven't done it before just can't even begin to understand that in some ways it is worth sacrificing a little bit of time in terms of, when you're going to get to close the distance to actually get that time together.
Yeah.
Because
and I mean I know that when we sit down and we say, okay, we have the money for all the paperwork, let's do this, we know that will be a time where we have to say we can't see each other.
Right.
We're ready to leave now and we have to make sure everything's right and done for us to settle.
And it's great that you're going to see each other 4 times this year before you go into that period of time where
that's
you might
the most
that
we've seen each other in a year, I think. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
How long do these visits normally last? Are you seeing each other for 2 weeks or?
No, Lawrence came over in April for 5 days, and I could only do 5 days in May also.
Wow, did you even get over the jet lag in that time?
I think because of the adrenaline rush of being with each other, we literally stay up all night. There's just no time difference anymore. It's we just forget about it.
That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So you're getting down to it, I guess, what are the emotions like between everyone, the families, the girls, now that it's becoming pretty real now, really, you're going to be applying soon?
I don't know. I guess they love it. I ain't heard no complaining.
That's good.
I mean, there's hard times on all the girls, I think, because my youngest, she's never had her dad in her life. Okay. And Lawrence, she met Lawrence when she was 4 years old. So she's always, that to her, that's Daddy Lawrence. That's her dad. That's the only male that she's been around. So sometimes, when it's Father's Day and when there's special moments, she finds it difficult that she hasn't got a dad here. And that can be hard, but they have an awesome bond. Like, their bond is great. And even to the point where sometimes Maya will be upset, or she'll be acting out or having a tantrum, and I'll call Lawrence and put him on video call, and she will talk to him and he'll calm her right down.
That's great.
That's amazing. It's like it's a really family, isn't it? Yeah.
And like me and his girls, we have a great bond. And he actually called me the other day and said, "Babe, I'm losing my temper. I need you to talk to her and tell her she has an attitude problem, because I can't talk to her right now."
I'm assuming that's a 16-year-old.
Yeah, that's the 16-year-old.
Yeah.
I called her and we had a really good conversation. And then he texted me and he was like, "I don't know what you said, but she just came in my room crying and gave me a hug." So I was like, well, that's good. You know, we can help each other out as parents, even though we're not in the same place.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It really is. Yeah.
Like, I didn't even think about the parenting aspect of this.
No.
Yeah. We sometimes
incredible.
We have to ask each other for advice. And I mean, Lawrence struggles having 2 kills by himself.
Yeah.
So he's like, what do I do? She's on her period.
Stay away. That's the only answer.
Yeah, because she be crying for nothing, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" "I don't know." I'm like, "Well, shit, I can't help you. Tell me, I'll fix whatever's wrong. Who did it?" She doesn't know. I'm like, "Oh my god."
Unfortunately, when they're teenagers, it's not only when they're on their period. That it's just like, I remember just like being like that for like 3 years, just crying over everything.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of last 2 questions, really. What advice would you give people? Obviously, visa requirements are different all over the world. Every country is different, but just kind of some general advice for approaching that, and then just general long distance advice for people going through it who maybe aren't quite to the point now where they're getting ready to close the distance. What are kind of the 2 main things?
Trust and honesty. Communicate. I mean, it's very difficult being in a long distance relationship and not being able to talk about everything and be honest. There's times where Lawrence will hold things back and then it'll create something afterwards. Or I won't tell him something and it becomes an issue. That's the only reason me and him get into any type of disagreement or arguments, is because sometimes we're not fully honest with each other. And we've recognized and learned from the last few years that if there's something going on, we just need to communicate, because unfortunately, if he's had a bad day, he can't come home and cuddle his wife. If I've had a bad day, I can like lay down with him and he tells me everything's going to be okay. And they're the hardest moments of being in a long distance relationship. You don't have that physical touch and that physical, I guess, bond that, you know, we're going to be strong and we can do this. So I guess I would say to anybody who is in a long distance relationship, just to be open and honest, and remember when like you're feeling down, if they're feeling down too, you guys are gonna like not be able to talk to each other. So you got to be able to have those days where, you know, it's okay not to talk, because it sometimes gets too much when you do talk. It gets emotional knowing you can't touch each other. So sometimes we have to say, you know, I can't talk to you today because I'm really upset that we're not together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to say anything, babe? I feel like I talk too much.
Yeah, I was going to tell you that. I guess, you know, I'm going to say it as a guy's perspective to other guys who are thinking about a long distance relationship or a long distance relationship with someone else out of the country. The only way it's going to work is if that's your best friend, because you have to 90% of the day, you got to be on the phone with that person, because 100% of the day, you're never with them. So the time you have on the phone is all you got. So you got to role play games together, watch movies together, talk about whatever going on at work, who pissed you off, who's awesome. Like every little detail you got to be willing to talk about, because that's all you have right now is conversation till you see each other. And then once you see them, it's the countdown till they leave again.
That's such a good point.
Yeah, it
about
really is.
being best friends and stuff, and I don't think that's really said enough. Because I don't know what you guys think, what your experience with it is, but we've kind of commented in the past that where technology, like this Skype call, is so available, it's almost like some people go into long distance pretty blasé, like and then they don't think about the stuff you guys just said. Like you have to talk about everything, and you have to watch movies together, and like there's responsibility that comes with it, and it's hard. You have to want to do it, and I suppose they're the ones that make it.
Yeah, and I think when Nyla said earlier about, I mean, like you said, there's not that physical reassurance of touch, that is so important to us, and so you almost have to make up with that with more talking and more communication and more creative ideas, like Lawrence was saying, watching movies together, playing games. I mean, it's taking me right back. These are all things that we did.
Do you guys have any suggestions for like date ideas for when you're apart? We just had someone ask us about this, I think.
Yeah, we did.
Date ideas?
Yeah, like what do you guys do when you're apart to be together, if you like?
Well, Lawrence likes to choose a night where he will go to a really nice restaurant and dress up and tell me to go to a restaurant, and we will sit at the bar of the restaurant and pretend that we're in the same place.
You FaceTime when you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so cool. I am in love with you guys. I am. You're just my new favorite people.
Yeah, totally. We're coming to Wales.
Yeah, you let us know, and we're gonna party. So I think the last kind of thing. I know I said those were the last two questions, but one more bonus question. So Lawrence, you're on dialysis, and as Nyla said, that's some kind of challenges in terms of immigrating. But are you due to get a transplant soon? Where are you with that?
Well, it's a little complicated, but I could sum it up really easy. I've done all my tests, but they found basically that over the time that I've been on dialysis, I've lost 4% of function of my heart. So pending that test would mean I'm due to get a kidney before this year. And also, I have a cancer biopsy, I think I'm saying it right, for skin cancer or something. Okay. As long as those come up, I guess, okay or whatever. I forget. I don't even know what they're looking for, but as long as those two come out good, then before this year is out, I should be getting a kidney if,
If it all goes. So we're crossing everything for definitely. You. I mean, sounds like you've got a lot of things you're having to deal with on top of long distance.
As if a long distance isn't hard enough.
Yeah. It's hard. But we encourage each other. And that's another big thing. We both, when she's down, don't matter what I'm going through, I gotta pick her up because she needs help. But I'm the same way. Because being on dialysis and with these girls, I break. I break easy.
It's a lot to deal with, like separated.
Yeah.
But I think as long as you're on the same page, like when I first met Lawrence, I didn't understand the health conditions that he had. Mm-hmm. But obviously, after a while, I learned to understand, and I still chose to be with him. And people say, like, oh, would you have been with him if you knew? And I was like, well, yeah, I guess, because I fell in love with him. It wasn't, oh, he gets really sick sometimes and he can't do this or he can't do that. Well, despite the conditions, he's amazing. He has a great personality, and I love him for who he is. And I am willing to support him all the way. Yes, it gets hard. Yes, it's very challenging. Yes, I get very worried and sick to the stomach of not knowing what's going on, especially if he has to go to hospital for any reason and I can't be there. Then it is really scary. But he's really open with telling me what the doctors say. And, he shows me his paperwork, and sometimes we read it together and see what we need to do next. And I guess being on the same page about everything is the best thing to do when you're in any type of relationship. You need to be on the same page. So like you said, he has to have a procedure on his heart to make sure his valves are fully functioning, because if they find something wrong with that, they probably will push back the transplant, which is going to be like, I'm just not even thinking about that. I'm hoping everything goes fine with the heart, and they then on another occasion said they want to do a biopsy because they felt that something wasn't right. But I'm just praying and hoping and knowing that everything's going to be okay. And by the end of the year, he will have his transplant and, things will fall into place for us.
Absolutely. And we, like we said, crossing everything, sending all the good vibes.
Yeah, totally.
And rooting for you guys like you have no idea. So
and let us know like how this progresses and when you close the distance, and we want to know the story how this closes up.
I feel really really invested now.
Well, I created the Instagram page because I was like, I feel like we should share our story. And
Absolutely.
do you want to plug that while you're on?
Yeah, so our Instagram page, which Lawrence doesn't go on because he doesn't have Instagram.
Oh, Lawrence.
Get with it.
Please download it. But our page is the Mitchells 18 because that's when we had our marriage lesson and that's when I decided to do it. So the Mitchells 18 on Instagram. Follow it.
There's no underscores in there. That's just one word.
No, just one word.
We'll tag it.
We'll tag you guys in that because we always.
But not
do
all of our listeners follow us on Instagram.
No, but at least
to their shame.
The cool ones do.
Yeah, the cool ones.
Instagram.
Totally. Lawrence doesn't.
Well, he's not as cool.
Oh yeah, he's not in the game.
I'm on Instagram. I'm gonna open my account again.
Do it. All right. Well,
I left. Sometimes all those women on you accidentally like it. You swipe up, accidentally like it.
You gotta be careful with those accidental likes. It's when you're like way back in their pictures, like from 2 years ago, and you accidentally like something, and it's like, oh my god.
That's it.
Well, thank you guys so much. You guys have such an amazing story. I think that like there needs to be a movie about this, and then we can have a movie about our story.
Well, should we start a production company for long distance movies?
I think we should.
Yeah.
I'm also writing scripts. I've always wanted to write.
I'm a creative arts development officer. I write. That's what I do. I act and I write. Let's make it happen.
I think we need to. Right. We have lots to work on.
Yeah.
But again, thank you guys so much. Like I said, we're rooting for you, like with everything.
Absolutely.
So all the best, and please keep in touch.
It's been a pleasure talking with y'all, and when I come over, I'm telling you, we're going to have a night where I make you guys dinner.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
No
arguments from us.
Even if we find a spot where we can meet halfway.
We'll come to Wales, don't worry.
We'll eat on the bridge.
Okay.
We'll come it's only like 3 hours, which is nothing.
Yeah, it's all good. I've got family there anyway.
So we can tie it in.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. Of course. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
So we hope that you guys enjoyed Lawrence and Nyla's stories as much as we did. We kind of just fell in love with them as people. We knew a little bit about their story, obviously, before we talked to them, but the more we learned, we just thought, they're just such a great couple, and we hope that you got some tips. They had some really great ideas for dates and communication, and just keeping yourself sane, really, while you're apart. And also, we hope that you got some benefit out of the visa information, because they're living it now. I know a lot of people ask us about it, but we always feel a bit uncomfortable because it was a long time ago that we did the process and things have changed a lot. So hopefully this is giving you some information if you're kind of dealing with the same countries, the UK and America at the moment. And Rich has a bit more to add.
Yeah, so we were just so moved by what they're dealing with that we've set up a GoFundMe page for the pair of them, just to try and raise that little bit of money they need for the paperwork. So we won't put too much detail in that here. You've already heard their story, but if you're interested, we've got a link to it in the show notes and on the episode page on our website, longdistancetomarriage.com. Anything you can donate, whether it's £1 or $100
whatever.
or dollars, whatever. It's not a huge amount of money that we're looking to raise for them, so anything you can contribute will really help. So thank you. Yeah, and just if you want to learn more about Nyla and Lawrence, we'll tag their Instagram handle in the show notes as well. So you can learn a bit about them. I think they want to bring their story to light because they're dealing with some amazing stuff. I mean, not only do they have the distance, they're married, they've got, a mixed family, 2 sets of kids, and, Lawrence has health problems that he's trying to overcome. So join us in trying to support them with energy, a little bit of money if you can, or anything you've got, really. Yep. Thanks, guys. See you next week.